Friends, I'm thankful to the Department of English and Foreign Languages of Indira Gandhi National Tribal University in India for inviting me at the International Online Conference on Literature and Life in the era of Covid-19. I am delighted to be here as the guest of honor to express my feelings, to express my experiences about the impact of COVID-19 on the literature of today. I'm happy to share that on 25th of June, only 2 days ago, was my birthday, 86th birthday. Before going further, I would like to thank the chairman, the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Prakash Mani Tripathi. The Honorable Vice Chancellor definitely is the guardian angel of this gathering of concerned intellectuals. Before touching the coronavirus, a dangerous creature, an obnoxious germ, I would like to thank also the convener of the conference, Professor Krishna Singh. I met him before at Indra Sangeet University in Chhattisgarh and also at Indra Gandhi Tribal University. Let me be frank that it is, my friend, a real challenge to organize such a conference about to raise a conference about an invisible virus that has changed the world order within months. Scientists are still working to know the nature of this virus, and world governments are extremely puzzled, and common persons are angry and frustrated, while some powers are using this situation to grab the land of their neighbors. That is a step that does not lead to peace. Rather, this step leads to grab self-destruction that leads to self-annihilation. I find no difference in the lust of this virus and the lust of the scientists to manufacture this obnoxious creature. My imagination goes a few years back when I was invited by Professor Krishna Singh to come to the campus of Indira Gandhi National Tribal University. It was towards the end of February in 2013. As a poet, I was delighted to be amidst these surroundings that help to get over creative burns. The literature of every kind, whether it is tribal literature or non-tribal literature, it is going to take another shape because of the invisible tiny virus that has impacted every corner of life, in every corner of the world, especially its impact on economic order. Literature cannot exist for a long time without life, as the tiny coronavirus cannot exist for more than 74 hours, as it said, outside the human body. Take any literature, and we find that it reflects its age. So the literature of today will reflect COVID-19. This phenomena will impact every media, will impact every platform, particularly the digital technology. One proof is right here. This proof is reflected in this digital conference. When I participated in the conference at this university in 2013, this type of conference was not imaginable. But today, it is a reality. A poet cannot live in an ivory tower forever. If today Shakespeare is alive, it is also because Shakespeare has produced in his plays social, political, economic, moral, and scientific ideas of his times. Shakespeare has proved that a literature which does not reflect the spirit of the time, that literature cannot be great and cannot be of lasting nature. Even in Paradise Lost, which is timeless, John Milton expresses the moral controversies of the Protestants, of the Roman Catholics that plagued the time and sent a British king to the gallows. At this time, I think of T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot has said somewhere that the soul of a nation, true ideals of its civilization, real message of the people's inner self is expressed in its literature. Today, the world is torn asunder with fear. Today, the world is torn asunder with hatred, and the root cause is lust. The root cause is greed. The root cause is to grab more. There is still a grave danger of another world war which may annihilate poets, annihilate our civilization. Under such circumstances, serious and committed poets and novelists and other writers cannot turn their backs to this reality like the Lady of Shalott. Within few months of its appearance, COVID-19 has started impacting poets and other creative writers and artists. Poets are using their lockdowns to express their anger and to express their frustrations, as well as solutions. This trend is more visible, is more obvious in poetry and also in letters to the editor. The impact of COVID-19 on the vocabulary is obvious. According to one estimate, around 1,000 new words of neologism and definitions have been added to English language by COVID-19. In other words, old definitions of several terms of expressions have been updated, and most of these expressions are not new. Only their definitions have been widened, and some of these expressions include, you must have heard, a symptomatic frontline health worker, abbreviations like PPE, that stands for personal protective equipment, hanker down, social distancing, physical contact, self-isolation, quarantine and self-quarantine, keep distance, mask or N95 mask, ventilator, non-essential, lockdown, positive, negative, Rona, that stands for coronavirus, flattening the curve, hand hygiene, respirator, and so on and so forth. COVID-19 has and will continue finding platforms for poets and storytellers to express themselves. I have explained some time back in my feature IT3 that appeared on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and is listed in detail on my website, stephengill.ca, and it is listed under my conversations. I will quote a few lines here to share that it is human desire to tell and hear stories. This desire to tell and hear stories is so strong, so intense, that stories were carved on stones long before the recorded history began. When it was not possible to record, people memorized raw feelings and events. One example is Aesop's fables. People were proud to present those animal tales orally to teach morals. People were proud to present those animal tales orally to teach morals. It is a long journey from the paintings in the caves to the modern movies and novel writing. The form has been changing according to the time, but not the basic desire to share. That basic desire to share is the same. That cannot be deleted or eliminated. The long journey of of the desire to share confirms that people love to tell and hear experiences. People love to hear and tell stories. This inherent desire to tell and hear stories will not die, and so novels and movies will not die. Although their ways of presentation will keep on changing. I believe that digital technology will play a strong part in shaping new forms of expression. As far as subject is concerned, COVID-19 will do the work. Poets will have new themes, as several of them have already started using new themes and new subjects. Story writers will also use COVID-19 for their themes. I have also used it in my essays and also used on YouTube. Two of my short stories will be critically examined by university teachers. One story is titled Mask. Another story is titled Self-Isolation. The story in Mask is about a Canadian who goes in search of a face covering, this mask, to know how a mask looks like. He wants to use it properly in case of any emergency. But to his disappointment, he finds all the masks have disappeared from pharmacies. He finds all the masks have been bought. He finds that some immigrants bought them all. The purpose is not given, but it can be imagined. In another story, Self-Isolation, the main character, who happens to be a poet, tells his friend that national lockdowns do not bother him because, as a poet, self-isolation has been his life. There are reasons given in the story about the benefits of self-isolation, benefits to artists. The literature of today has started reflecting the impact of COVID-19, what is in human thoughts, what is in human actions, are reflected in the literature. I plan to write much more on this theme, on this subject, if I get time and encouragement. Imagination is there. Because it is a new subject, it is still fluid and is still being shaped in our thoughts and ideas and actions. The process will be fast if I keep receiving encouragement. I am happy that Indira Gandhi Tribal University has taken steps to encourage me and others by asking some teachers to critically examine my two stories connected with COVID-19, and also by giving me an opportunity to express my feelings, to express my experiences, about this virus that has been created by maniac messiahs. I would like to share that I have written a critical study on A.G. Wells. This critical study came out in 1975, and it is titled Scientific Romances of A.G. Wells. During my research, I was strongly impacted with one story of Wells called The Invisible Man. This is a story of immense lust and his inevitable downfall. Griffin, a scientist, finds the secret to be invisible to obtain power and to obtain wealth. He established a reign of terror through the misuse of his scientific knowledge. This scientist named Griffin uses all his resources. He uses all his time, including his creativity, including his money and his intellect, to discover how to be invisible to satisfy his lust for power. He steals even his father's money. Griffin has no regret over the theft. This man feels no sorry or pity for his father who commits suicide. The story is a warning to scientists to be cautious of their inventions, to be cautious of their discoveries, as misuse of science invites catastrophes. In his invisible form, Griffin is continually jostles unwittingly by passers-by, and he is sniffed by dogs. He cannot eat in public as his food remains visible, but is perceived as a great power through weakness that leads to his misery. He gets in a worse situation than a caged animal is. He starts living in seclusion without friends. He must be fully unclothed to avoid detection, regardless of the temperature while he is going out. His further misery and moral deterioration are noticeable when he vandalizes and attacks people. He plans a reign of terror. He tells his secret to a friend and is eventually killed. It seems to me that the virus of COVID-19 was manufactured in a laboratory. It was manufactured by scientists. I'm sure that such miseries and catastrophes as of Griffin will find translated in the writings of poets, in the narratives of fiction writers, and in the works of other artists. The question arises, who is a Griffin? A tree is known by its fruit. This obnoxious creature, this evil scientist, find a secret to satisfy their lust for power. This person will use the virus of COVID-19 for the purpose for which virus is created. Friends, as Griffin was destroyed by his creation, this person will also be destroyed by the same virus. All these things will find their expression in the works of poets, will find expression in the narratives of novelists and other form of artists. Friends, I have taken a little more time, I believe it seemed, than the time that was allotted to me. Thanks for listening so patiently. God bless you all.